Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Tobias and today we're going to look at quadratic equations. A general quadratic equation is on the form a times x squared plus b times x plus c equals 0. A and b are called coefficients and are constants, and the last term is a constant term. And the first thing we want to do when looking at an equation like this, we want to calculate the discriminant. And we do this by using this formula. We say b squared minus 4 times a times c, and then we get this discriminant. And it discriminates between three situations down here. If d is greater than 0, there are two solutions. If d is equal to 0, there's one solution, and if d is less than 0, there are no solutions. So the first thing we want to do is look up what is a, b, and c, calculate the discriminant, and then look at these situations, if there are two solutions, one solution, or no solutions. If there's one solution, we have this formula to calculate x, which is the solution to our equation, also called a root, and it's minus b over 2 times a, so we just have to put in b and a, which we have looked up here, into the formula, and we can calculate x, our solution. If d is greater than 0, we have two formulas. We have minus b plus the square root of d over 2 times a, and minus b minus the square root of d over 2a. The only difference between these two formulas is a plus sign up here and a minus sign down here. And they remind us a little bit of this one up here. Only the square root is not part of this formula up here. So now we are going to look at some examples. We've got the first one here. So we've got this equation, a quadratic equation, x squared minus x minus 2 equals 0. If there's nothing in front of x squared, then it's a 1. We don't want to write a 1. It's a convention that if it's only a 1, the number 1, then we just leave it out. So a is equal to 1. B is what's in front of the x, and that's minus 1, because we've got a minus here, a minus sign, and then the same argument that we don't want to write a 1, a number 1, so we just leave it out, but it's minus 1. And then we've got the c, the constant in the end, that's minus 2. And this equals 0, which is our equation we want to solve. So we've got a, b, and c written up here, and now we want to calculate the discriminant. And that was this formula up here. So b squared minus 4 times a times c. So we put it into the formula. We say b squared, that's minus 1 squared, and we have to put the minus 1 inside brackets because it's a negative number. Then we say minus 4, that's part of the formula, times a, which is 1, times c, which is minus 2. And if we calculate this, we get 1 plus 8, and that equals 9. So our discriminant is equal to 9. It's a number bigger than 0, or greater than 0, so we have two solutions to our equation up here. Now we want to calculate the two solutions, and we have to use these formulas down here. So we say minus b plus the square root of d over 2 times a. The b was minus 1, so we put in minus 1 instead of b. We put in 9 instead of d in our formula, and we say 2 times a, and a is 1. Minus minus, if we've got two minus signs, it's the same as a plus, so it's a 1 over here. The square root of 9 is 3, and 2 times 1 is 2. So we've got 1 plus 3, that's 4 over 2, and 4 divided by 2 equals 2. So that's the one solution. Then we've got another solution. Almost the same formula as before. We only have a minus sign instead of a plus sign up here. So it's 1 minus 3 this time, divided by 2. And 1 minus 3 equals minus 2. We take the minus sign and put it in front. And we just look at 2 divided by 2, that's 1. And then we just put the minus sign in front of that. So minus 1 is our second solution. So we've got 2 and -1, the two solutions to our equation. You can try and put in 2 or -2 into x's places, one at a time, like 2 onto x's places here, and see if that equals 0. And you can put in -1 onto all x's places up here and see if that equals 0. It should. And just to be sure, we can use our program here, WordMat, to do the same. We just take the equation and then we press the Alt button plus L, or the Option button on a Mac plus L, and it asks us if we want to solve this equation and solve for x. Yes, we want to, and then we get these two solutions, x equals -1 or x equals 2. And that is the same results as we got up here. So we've got two solutions or two roots to our quadratic equation up here. Now we have another example. This time the coefficients are to be seen. They're not invisible like up here. We had to know that it was a 1 each place. So the a this time is what is in front of x squared, that's 2, and -2 is the value for b, and the c, or the value for c, is -12. So we've got our quadratic equation once again. We have determined the constants 2, -2, and -12 for a, b, and c. And now we want to calculate the discriminant once again to know how many solutions there are and what kind of formulas we have to use. So we take b squared minus 4 times a times c. b is -2. We put it in brackets because it's a negative number. We square it. Then we say -4 times a, which is 2, times c, which is -12. Then we get these numbers out of it, 4 plus 8 times 12. And that's 4 times 96, and that's 100. So our discriminant equals 100. And it's a number greater than 0, so there are two solutions once again. We used the same formulas as before. We put in minus b plus the square root of d over 2 times a. b was -2, we put in -2. d was 100, so we put in 100 instead of d. And then we've got a, that's a 2. So if we calculate this, we get 2 plus 10, because the square root of 100 is 10, and 2 times 2 is 4. Then we get 12 divided by 4, and that's 3. So the one solution, the one x solution here, is our solution for x is 3. And we do exactly the same. Instead of the plus sign here, we just use a minus sign. We have this calculation this time. -8 divided by 4, we take the minus sign in front. And then we've got 8 divided by 4, which is 2, and then we put a minus sign in front, so -2. So 3 and -2 are our two solutions to this equation up here. You can try again, once again, to put in 3 or -2 into x's places here, one at a time. And you can see that the left side of the equation will equal 0, so it says 0 equals 0, and then it's true. With WordMat, once again, we just have to put it in the box and press the Alt button plus L, the Option button on a MacBook plus L, and then we want to once again solve for x, and we get x is equal to -2 or x is equal to 3. The two solutions we found up here. If they come like this, in like -2 first and then 3, and up here we had 3 first and -2, that's no big deal. We can do both ways, so that's nothing. We could have had this calculation first, and then we had the -2 up here. So no props there. Our third example, we've got this quadratic equation this time, x squared minus 2 times x plus 1 equals 1. So we've got the a is what's in front of x squared, that's a 1. -2 is our value for b, and +1 is our value for c. And now we calculate the discriminant once again, b squared minus 4 times a times c. Just take our numbers here and put them in. That equals 4 minus 4, and that's 0. So because the discriminant is 0, there's only one solution, and we have to use this formula up here. And we just put in the numbers, so minus b over 2 times a. B was minus 2, we put it in brackets, and our value for a was 1. So we've got minus 2, which equals a plus sign, so plus 2 over 2, and that's a 1. So our one solution, or one root, is equal to 1. If we had used a word method to do the same, we had just, once again, blah blah blah, into the brackets here, or into the box, and press the Alt plus L buttons, or Option plus L, and we had solved it for x, and which only yields us one solution, which is 1. So we have once again the same solution as we calculated up here, which is fortunate. If you put in 1 onto x's places up here, the equation would once again be true, because you could see that the left side of the equation would equal 0, and then the solution would, or the equation would be true. Our last example here is this quadratic equation, so 2 times x squared minus 2x plus 12 equals 0. Once again, we look at a and b and c, we write them up. So a is equal to 2, b is equal to minus 2, and c is equal to 12. We put it into our discriminant formula, minus 2 squared minus 4 times 2 times 12, and this is what we get, and this is then what we get, 4 minus 96, which equals minus 92. And because the discriminant is less than 0, there's no solution to this equation. So we cannot put in any numbers on x's places here, the same number, to be fair, on x's places here, and make it 0. So we can never do that, and so this equation cannot be solved, and we cannot find some x to solve it. If we had been using our word mat to help us, our program, then it would have yielded us this solution down here. X is an element in the empty set, which means that the equation had no solutions in the domain for our real numbers for variable x. So this means there are no solutions to this equation, which is what we got up here, because the discriminant was less than 0. So yeah, that was it for solving quadratic equations. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.